Oh, hello everybody, and
Hey,
welcome
hey.
back to Crypto Talks. So we, I mean, we're live. We just couldn't resist, because things are doing things. Crypto's doing crypto stuff, and so we decided let's do it live because we were sitting in our Discord where you should be as well, and talking about what was going on and thinking about what's gonna happen, etc., etc. So we thought we might as well do it live, right?
Yep.
Oh, so yes, now we're here, and wow, I mean, yeah, Bitcoin has moved. It's actually even. I'm gonna start with this. I'm sorry, Rob. I need to just get this
Go,
off my
go,
chest.
go, go,
I
go,
have
go, go.
I just want to preface this that both Rob and I have had about, or at least me, I've had about 3 minutes to look at the charts, just to
Yeah.
to get like an overview, and
It's a live review. Let's
Yeah.
just see. Let's see what's going on.
So what's happened? I'm actually going to go to the 4 hourly chart here. No, let's stay on the daily. It's easier. So here's the trend line that we talked about yesterday. If you remember, I don't think we didn't stream yesterday. But I made
Tuesday.
yes, but we were expecting to see some type of resistance here on the fib level, and then here on the on the trend line. Yeah, exactly. So, and what happened was we got that big pump through, and I was like, okay, I guess we're doing stuff. But then it failed and fell right back down. But it did close above the fib level eventually. It was under it for quite some time. And now today, what I also noticed just now is that we actually wicked down and hit the fib level exactly on it as support, it seems. Maybe it was just happenstance, but to me that just looks nice. And now we're sitting just on this trend line, and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking the market has slowed down towards the end of the day so far, and I'm kind of feeling like maybe this is it. But then again, looking at ETH is already red here, and we're looking at
yeah,
right
ETH
here.
is
I'm gonna
red
let you
within the context of it. It finally caught up. It had a big
Yeah.
bump yesterday, so it's in the same way as Bitcoin is sitting under a resistance, having broken another resistance. ETH has done exactly the same thing. ETH doesn't look quite, ETH is still sat under the high of April. So okay, it's
so far. Yeah,
it's clearly not in the same way, but I would just like to say, if you just take a look at the ETH BTC chart, it tells a bit of a different story. So
I'll put in. I'm guessing you have it on, so
okay,
I'm just
not yet. I have
yours.
solo, but I was just having a look. But let's just have a look. ETH BTC.
Because I'm poor and I don't use Premium Trading View, I don't have everything saved like this gentleman.
So yeah, so ETH BTC, as I mentioned the last 2 weeks, how this is coming down to this zone, and this is this is back to June 2021. So this was like nearly a year and a half's worth of price, and it's it's a previous level. It's a level that ETH has shown sort of interaction with, and we'd come down to it again after what was a very significant. You're talking what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9 out of 10 weekly red candles.
Yeah, now, that's a big ouch.
That's some oversold stuff, and you're watching the rest of the market sort of really start to going a bit mad, and ETH's just not really doing anything. It's just sat there, and this is one of those areas where, unless you think we're in a full-fledged bull market and you need to hold on to, say, your coin forever, there is an awful lot of potential in this rotation of pick something that is fundamentally good, but the market is undervaluing relative to the rest of the market, and ETH isn't just going to sit there and do nothing while Solana was stealing the show, but a lot of other things, Cardano, etc. They were going nuts. I remember pointing this out to you as well. Is that if you look at Cardano, mentioned this on stream, is that it too was coming down to this, a sort of very long-term support level against Bitcoin, this uptrend. And again, it's bounced exactly the same place. And it's not these. Okay, yeah, this could be it, and they could just decide that everything's going to fall over and falter. But when you have big movers like Cardano and ETH that have been, talked about how this had been suppressed for so long. This was a 2-year downtrend. Is it not reasonable that it, say I've had this yellow line already drawn, that it comes up at least up to here, sort of 1,450 sats, which is, that's only a 50% rally from here versus Bitcoin. Or let's say, if you look at the USD chart, AUDUSDT, like, yeah, it's just about ready to break out. And we get conditioned in a bear market that, highs, you sell, if something comes and retests a high, it's probably going to fail. But what we're seeing at the moment in coin after coin after coin, in like this progressive sort of one after another, is they're starting to break those supports, those resistances, and they are, they're going to start to make higher highs. Should we not expect the likes of Cardano to make a higher high here? Like if the rest of the market, much fundamentally worse coins, where you're going, okay, it's got this, it's coming up and testing its resistance level of the last sort of year. The next one above it is 57% at that weekly high. Above that, you're looking as high as, sort of 80 cents or so. That's a 100% rally from here, and it's not out of the question when you look at what the likes of Solana, rightly so. Solana's done it off the back of a lot of FOMO mixed in with the conference,
good fundamentals, etc.
And the fact that it was it had a 95% correction drawdown bottom to top. It's got so much room to move up, and so 97%. That is insane for a coin which is as good as Solana is, and similar to Cardano, which dropped like 98%, I think, versus in dollars in the last bull market. That's it doesn't have it on here, but it did. And so ETH dropped 95% in the last bull market. ETH has dropped well over 80% this time round. The same amount, almost to the percent. It was Bitcoin dropped 85% in the last bull market. ETH did 82. You see in these, these more mature coins following, ETH is just sort of one bull market behind Bitcoin. Solana is one bull market behind ETH.
Yep.
And so you've got the likes of, you've got a lot of these coins which have got at $2,000 an ETH. I think this is a long-term sustainable price. Maybe. I think it's pretty reasonable just looking at this, that this is, there's just, looking very simply at the chart, looking at nothing more than sort of where sort of weekly levels exist. And $2,500 for ETH is not, that's just the next target. Above that,
I would agree.
I'd say we're even looking as high. Not that it's going to happen, but I would say that the real target to get to is about $3,500 for ETH. And at that point, I would say, is it worth 70% of its blow-off top all-time high in 2021? Probably not. It's probably time for another 50% correction. And so, imagine, think of that, seeing ETH at $3,500, the excitement and FOMO that would bring, and then watching it run all the way back to below 2,000.
Yeah. No, I'm looking at ETH. I'm looking at ETH now, and what your resistance lines, and this one where we currently are. I feel like it shouldn't be that hard for ETH to break that, because people have been kind of waiting for ETH to make the big moves.
If we just put it a little bit lower, if I just put it at 2,000, then you can see quite clearly. Say 2,000 has been tested multiple times and is now breaking above this sort of fake out, and this is now the last section before it can move higher.
This is also why we tend to talk about ranges. We put the ranges in between two fairly significant, like it's not a resistance line, it's a resistance range, and you can see that if you would put two lines there, you would see it so much clearer. That's something I do, at least, and I know we tend to talk about that because it's just putting an exact line is not a great idea in my opinion, really. But you tend to do it because. But yeah, no, I think that will. I hope it breaks. I think ETH has earned its right to break out now as well. And 2.5K is not far off that, to be honest.
No, you're talking less than a 20% move now. So
oh yeah, no, and that's something Solana did today, and I'll bring up Solana once we're done with this. But yeah,
yeah, so. This is where I don't want to say too much. I called it, but I called it. ETH is. Solana has again stolen the show. It's doing fantastically well, but ETH has made some really, really big moves in the past few weeks, in the past few days even.
Yeah.
Versus Bitcoin. Although it looks like it's had 4 weeks worth of solid green, so is everything. And Bitcoin had these big jumps, whereas ETH has just been sort of slow and steadily climbing, whilst bleeding versus Bitcoin. And so this is something to remember, is that when ETH does get going, it has the same effect as Bitcoin does, where it sucks liquidity out of other things. So if you've got, if you have a particular ERC20 token that has been doing very well, and I'll give a good example of that would be Chainlink. Chainlink's been going mad after
a very long-ranged bear market bottom.
Yes, I mean,
and that is what I call a range.
and let's call it what it is. It's an absolute textbook accumulation.
Yeah, exactly.
It is that has had a year and a half's worth of accumulation under $9, and here it goes, off it goes again. But Chainlink is one of those coins that it'll break your heart. It always feels like if I just look at now, this is sort of where I want to get to the point, is Chainlink versus Ethereum. If you look at this chart, then there is still potentially a lot of accumulation still to do, but also a lot of more room to grow up. But also it's like, do we think Chainlink made its all-time high versus Ethereum all the way back in August of 2020. Like, that is 3 years ago now that it's been losing dominance for, and coming to what is potentially a more fundamental valuation, a valuation that represents what it brings to the Ethereum blockchain, and that is it is one of the most important coins on Ethereum. For people that don't know much about Chainlink, it's essentially the number one oracle. It's responsible for bringing.
There's nothing that comes even close to it. So
it's what we call data from the real world into the Ethereum network. Yeah.
So, but basically,
that has a huge value.
Yeah, and I mean, this is kind of what when I talk about looking for alpha, I look for what is the top oracle? Okay, Chainlink. What is the top rendering service render? What is the top indexing protocol, GRT, whatever, stuff like that. That's what I look for. So Chainlink for me is it's always been one that I've been looking at for my bag, but I want my bag to be pretty small in terms of the number of coins or tokens in it, because I want to be able to keep my eyes on it always and always know what's going on. But give me more of a heads up. Oh, we're being yelled at by Badger. Sorry, dude.
More of a heads up. Well, we didn't have any heads up ourselves, man. But you're here now.
I got home 20 minutes ago and I ate a hamburger and I still have my Coke left. Sponsored by McDonald's. Not really. So unfortunately not. Yeah. So we just decided to do this.
We did. So just say back to my point, which is if we if you just look at it, look at the Link versus Ethereum chart, if ETH decides that it's going to move here, this is where it will take some of the valuation in ETH dominance out of Chainlink, and this can happen for, say, a whole lot of coins, anything that connects with the Ethereum blockchain, which is basically everything. and you'll see quite a lot of stuff. Some stuff, like, say Cosmos, AVAX, BNB, a lot of the other chains really haven't done very well recently versus Ethereum. As say Solana has done fantastically
Very
well.
Yeah.
Chainlink, but even Solana, is it going to start taking out these other resistances? I don't know if here's an older chart. Yeah, there you go.
I think we need a retest first of one of them.
Now,
honestly,
I could quite happily see this coming and being a test that Solana fails, as in really trying to say, is it? But if it is, that's not to say that if it's not growing at a faster pace than Ethereum, and I think it's fair to say it is, then maybe it is, even despite having been massively overvalued here in 2021.
Yeah, that was then.
If it's now fundamentally grown, what you can sort of think of the fundamental valuation as maybe being something like this. Versus Ethereum. If it's if both networks are growing, both are developing, but Solana's growing at a faster rate, albeit admittedly from a much lower starting point. Solana's got a lot more room to grow than Ethereum has. For Solana to do a 10x in users in applications, very, very easy. For Ethereum to do it, much harder, because it already has the most applications on there, and it has the market cap to represent that as it stands.
Yes.
If at the end of the day, if we still look at it, if you look at liquidity, if you look at the amount of and the maturity, let's not think number of apps is one thing. Anyone can make an app, or anyone with a bit of knowledge can make an app. But to actually have people using that app is a different thing. And Ethereum is still the king in that regard. Will it remain the king? Well, if Solana's usage is providing a demand for the token which exceeds that of the demand for Ethereum, then, well, yes, Solana should be looking to break and make a new all-time high versus Ethereum on here.
Yeah. So I think like one of the arguments, by the way, for failing that line, that failing that resistance for Solana, I think there's a lot of Ethereum holders and Ethereum users that hold some Solana to kind of hedge against their Ethereum position. And I would definitely say that line that all these lines that we have, most people probably have as well, if they plan on swinging between these two assets. And what they will see is once they get to this line, they will look at it and go, maybe it's time to flip some of my Solana into my ETH, which, obviously props up ETH and pushes down Solana. So that makes sense. This is why you look at the pair charts, right? And I've thought about it. Rob told me to think about it, and I'm like, I'm kind of happy with all the ETH I have. So if I do sell Solana, I will do it to the dollar, so I can buy back my Solana.
Now here's a controversial point. Here's XRP versus Ethereum, and is it or is it not making continually higher highs versus Ethereum?
Yes.
For 2 years now, it's managed to hold this bottom. From a trader's standpoint, XRP doesn't look a bad trade at all, even against ETH.
No.
And even here is another example, is you've got to think what is XRP's valuation locked up in? Well, a lot of valuation is very, very clearly locked up in the hopes that it will become this liquidity provider to the world. And I think it's got a place there somewhere. I don't know how big a piece. I don't think it will be as big a piece as a lot of XRP holders expect. But they also now have the XRP ledger. And although me and you, we've both used it, we've not been impressed by what it has to offer. But go on.
I'll say though, like, it's not that we're not impressed by what they have to offer. It's more like we realize that there are other chains and other protocols out there that are way more impressive. Even like Avalanche compared, like we actually did a study, that long report that we wrote for a project that we were working on. and we put XRP against Solana, Polygon, Ethereum, and Avalanche, just to kind of see where the differences are. And this was because we were thinking about migrating that project over to another chain. We wanted to see which one was fitting the most. And when we looked at these and we really dug into the numbers, even how much electricity one transaction on each chain costs, and the clear loser was XRP on every point. I think it got second place on like one of like 15, 20 points.
It was
and
better
Solana
than
won all of them,
Ethereum on a
basically.
few bits, basically, yeah. But it was,
Yeah, it's like
it was Polygon and
transaction speed.
Solana were quite clearly the winners
Yeah.
of that.
And of those, Solana was a clear winner of the two. At
So-
least in you know.
But however, having said that, you have to remember that was a long time ago now.
That was a while ago. Yes.
So within that time, XRP has a large community. It will have been continually developing XRPL, and so there's no question that it will now be a more fundamentally valuable project than it was 2 years ago. 3, yeah. And so just purely looking at the chart, nothing more, not even knowing this could be between the prices of soybeans and oats. It could be anything. If you look at the chart and you can see a trend, then that's not necessarily something to be ignored. And I will say one thing for XRP is, in my opinion, or in my anecdotal evidence anyway, it tends to pump last. It lets everything else have its run, and then XRP going to the point where you can almost look at XRP pumping as a market sell signal. When XRP goes, it's time to just get the hell out of everything. And it'll be quite interesting to see if it happens again. And I've got a sneaky suspicion that it will, that XRP is going to do something stupid, like again, you do 150% move up with no real substance behind it. And that will be the get the hell out, put everything into dollars, the market's about to crash. And if I was going to bet on anything, if I was going to make a call, it would be just to, I wouldn't say trade based on that anecdotal piece of advice, but just let's watch to see if it comes true. And I sort of have an expectation that it will. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. The chart doesn't lie. Higher highs, higher lows.
Yeah, for sure. And that.
So I'm looking at ETH close to breaking resistance. After watching everything else break resistance, it would be odd for ETH not to have a go.
Yeah.
It would just be strange to me for ETH to fall where a lot of other coins are succeeding. And then secondly, is you're looking at that pop up from the all-time low, that pop up of ETH BTC. You can see a potential, say, rotation. You've got to bear in mind, ETH is massive compared to a lot of these coins. For a lot of altcoins to just pop up 100%, it takes a few $1 million. It really doesn't take a lot of money. Yeah. And similarly, there is not then the liquidity to hold those prices up when the market turns and everybody comes to sell all at once. Remember, everybody wants to sell that reversal. And so there's no sellers, and then there are a lot of sellers. At the same point, there goes from being a lot of buyers to being dip buyers that are hopeful. That's who the reversal sellers are selling the bags to, the buy the dip crowd. And eventually, after things have ridden high enough, there's not enough buy the dip crowd anymore, unless there are new people really coming into the space. And because of that, this could go on for a fair bit longer. I'm not particularly bearish and thinking this is going to reverse. I'm kind of expecting things to go on for a little bit longer. But zoom in 5-minute charts. You want to see 5-minute charts?
It looks like that last can kind of give you the finger.
Yeah.
The
5-minute charts is
giving you the finger, basically.
Oh yeah, see there's some resistance candle right now, and see, but Bitcoin, you'll see this sort of fight for liquidity between Bitcoin and ETH where they'll sort of take turns back and forward in it. Right now, Bitcoin is up. Well, Bitcoin is down, but Bitcoin is up on the day. ETH is a little bit down on the day, but ETH is sat under this resistance. And what you'll see, if we see, say, Bitcoin just start to flag here and just it can carry on. It doesn't have to go down, doesn't have to go up. But maybe if you zoom out a little bit more, you can see even then, you can see this sort of, if it extends this out and does, something like that, then ETH in that meantime can, and I sort of expect would, given how close this trend line is to popping, would sort of bang and would sort of fly. Maybe not. Yeah, maybe up there.
That's a nice pull. You hit it.
Accident. Yeah, nice accident. And everything else will go up with it. But you'd start to see a lot of liquidity. If we start to see a lot of liquidity move into ETH, then other things will go up, but ETH will start to steal the show. And then ETH will top out, and you'll see other things take over. And then XRP pumps, and then everybody should sell.
Yeah, exactly. When XRP pumps, you sell everything. No, but
kinda. Like if I wonder if I can actually show this.
No, don't. I do want to talk too. So
no. Go on,
so I'm going to show you something. So here's, obviously, we talk a lot about Solana on this channel, and obviously I've said I'm a holder and an investor of Solana, and today, as we've seen a 22% candle at the peak. Yes, 22% candle. And the TA that we've done on Solana, we've not shown all that much of Solana TA during our TA Mondays and everything. So I thought we might take a crack at that here today, since we are kind of just doing this on the run. And we had a few lines here when we were looking through to see, when this pump started, we were looking at where the resistances might be. And the first one we said we would have to fight this trend line. And it just smashed through that like it was nothing. Same with this resistance at 39. And after that, we kind of just moved around a bit, and then we started over again. And for me, it was always, I think 48 is it, and then it has to kind of correct. But it seems like the entire market has just woken up out of a slumber, and just everything is pumping. And Solana is pumping a lot because, again, like you said before, it was down so hard against everything for so long. And then at the start of the year, everything just changed. And Solana went up hard and then sideways for a long time right here. So about sideways and slightly down. And then I think down here we had the announcement of the wormhole bridge thing that they did. And that pumped us up a lot. Came back, tested the trend line again, and now we're going, right? So I'm gonna be honest, I'm kind of surprised that it pushed through this 48 line, because I just felt everything was like over extended, and it I mean, obviously it kind of is. Everything seems to be, according to every metric that we have, everything is like overextended, but that's what crypto does. It just decides to go, and then it goes. So currently looking at Solana's year to date, it's 442%, which is nuts. It's nuts that a project of this size, it's the 7th or 6th biggest, or 5th even if you discount the USDT on CoinMarketCap, and it's still doing 450% in a year because of that big downtrend.
Sure. Right? Can we just flip to my screen a sec for a brief
again?
History lesson?
Okay.
Brief history lesson.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to bring you back to ETH.
Yeah.
And so this is the previous bear market. Let's make it look more exaggerated by taking it off the log chart. And even there, sort of from the bottom to the top, ETH did a 336% move. It then, following that, pulled back from all the way to the bottom, 75%.
Yep.
Just,
that was the C19 crash, though, right?
That was, but even if you just take
if you discount that, I think
if you discount
like
50, that, no, 67
something, 67, yeah,
yeah.
That's a pretty big
Yes, I obviously I cannot say it's going to happen again. Nobody knows yet. Maybe this is it. New paradigm. We're off to a million. Bitcoin's going to $1 million. Blah 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 blah. Everything we've said for, or every time we've been talking for most of the year about sort of the overall state of the macroeconomy hasn't gone away. And as you know, the thing to sort of be wary of is that this pump this fast gives us a lot of room to go down. And this could carry on for several weeks. When it turns, it's going to turn hard.
Yeah.
And it's going to leave a lot of people behind.
Yeah, I've actually been looking at, I'm going to put mine up again. I've been looking at where the pullbacks might be. Like if we have a pullback here, obviously these green lines here are my support levels, and the yellow ones are obviously still there because it's a trend and it might act as support later on, so it's going to stay there. So in case we kind of stop out here at, let's say, 56, which is supported by this top here and this top right here, it's not a very big resistance line, because frankly, I think the next real resistance might be all the way up at 78, because it's basically just clear air right here. There's just no volume here. It's just a big pump and a big dump straight through. So when I'm looking at this and I'm looking at, let's say we correct from here, the first line would be this, and I think that's too close, because then it would be the same thing as we got right here just a couple of days ago when we got that big wick, and then it kind of corrected down to this, was 16%. Getting that now, it would be, I mean, to this one, if that would be the same, would be 11.8%. I don't feel like that would be enough of a correction for Solana to cool down and restart a new rally. I think we would need another kind of like correction. So if we just look at this 39 level, that's 29% correction. That's starting to sound like it's like, okay, that's pretty significant. And that also, they both correlate here. Confluence here at 39 with the trend line and this. But going down further to get this is a very strong trend support line, because we have this top. That's a candle close, by the way, and we're very close to these wicks, and we have this bottom and this bottom right here. So going down there, that's 50% from here, right? That for me seems like something that would be kind of a sufficient kind of, hard correction. Because if you look at these ones, this one right here was 45, right? This one, even though it was very slow, let's take it from the peak, even though it was a very slow downtrend, it wicked all the way down to 53%. I'm not saying that's going to happen or anything, but for me, if we are correcting to something, I would personally say that I think it's somewhere around 28, right? From here. That's a pretty big drop. But I would be more than happy to take that drop, because I would intend to try to sell Solana at some point here and buy it back whenever I think it's going to bottom out. And that all depends on where we, what the market sentiment is if we start correcting from here, because you all know exactly what happens. It's very hard to find a top because it's so erratic. Then eventually you get a top, people sell off. Some people sell off way too late. Some people sell off too early. Some people hit the perfect top, which is almost impossible. But then getting that buyback for me is easier. I'm not sure what you think, Rob, but for me, finding that area where you think it's going to bounce back, I feel like that's much easier. So for me, it's.
I would say that greed and fear work in both directions.
Oh yeah.
And you can get you can get scared too early. Pick your it's pumping. Solana's pumping. I'm gonna make sure I sell at $30 because it's gone up really high, and that would have been a very reasonable sell until it wasn't. And so you have to, this is the sort of managing the emotions is when you find yourself being greedy instead of fearful at the top, that's when you should be selling. When say, those 4 sells are objectively good sells, but you still missed out on a hell of a lot more because there's a time to sort of know when to look at the indicators and go, yeah, I'm kind of, my gut tells me things are going to go higher. I'm looking at Solana there, and I'm looking at that candle and going, to me, that's sort of now prime for a rejection. 87 on the daily RSI, sat under, okay, yeah, it's not huge support. For me, this is kind of this. If you look as well, you've got this candle has still got lower volume than the previous high one at the 1st of November.
Yeah.
I was looking at your chart still.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I kept mine up. I put one of our new strategies.
No, you can see the on the 1st of November, you've got that volume candle, which is still significantly higher. Yeah. I know there's a decent amount of the day left to go, but we should be seeing increasing volume at this point. This should be this to me looks like a squeeze of basically a short squeeze followed by people that have gone in, they've piled shorts into Solana thinking, oh, look at it, it's rejected from the top at 48, it's going to go down, this is the time for it to go, and the market's turning around. They pile in the shorts, at which point people go, are we ready? And they just send it straight back up again, and they trap those shorts, and then immediately those shorts are now very skittish. Even if they if they're sort of 5x 10x leverage shorts, they got wiped out today.
Oh yes.
Even 2%, even 2 or 3 times leverage players are now sat in a deep hole, and now they have to make that decision. Do they cover their bet and do they buy back in, adding more fuel to it, or do they double down and hold it? And if they double down and they carry on adding collateral to their positions, this will carry on squeezing, because the market will punish these players. Even though their bet's probably right, and if they would just not avoid leverage or use minimal leverage, then actually they would be able to nail this short and make a nice tidy profit on the way down. But they're trying to catch a falling knife. They're just trying to catch it upside down.
Yep.
And this is the market looks, the charts look exactly the same when you flip them upside down, and flipping them upside down is good practice. To really take away your bias and see, if you flip that chart upside down now.
Let's see, I haven't done this in a while.
Inverse scale.
There we go.
Yeah. And then ask yourself, are you selling that?
Yeah, exactly.
Are you selling that chart? Because if you're not selling it now, then you flip it the right way up, you shouldn't be buying it.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it this way, when you really look at it this way, this is where I would have tried to buy because of all this, right? These are my buy levels. It's exactly like you say. It's so much easier when you look at it that way, but it doesn't always work. I mean, this is just a giga crash in terms of
And so does that look like, if in hindsight, looking at how we see most charts, the inverted chart looks like a terrific place to buy, i.e. this looks like a terrific place to sell. Even if it carries on higher, at this point, it is now getting really excessively overextended.
Yep.
And this is sort of where I'm talking, not necessarily about making loads and loads more money, but if you look at this, when you look at this chart and then you look at the likes of the ETH chart, you can look at it and go, is Solana going to keep on outpacing all of the other good things that there are out there?
Yep.
Maybe is the honest answer.
Yep.
But by comparing these and actually looking at it and going, this is a trade setup that, at the very least, and say this is it, you should be seriously thinking about setting stop losses and being prepared to get out of this, because it will turn.
Yep.
Maybe, or you can be patient, you can look at it just on the daily chart and you can wait for a reversal. You have to accept that reversal might come 20 or 30% down, because sometimes these things can just dump out of nowhere.
Yeah. And I mean, if you really look at it too, like on the daily right now, this looks nuts, right? There's still a couple of days left. Granted, not very many. But when you look at something, if you move this to the weekly chart, for all we care, this entire candle could just be a huge wick at the end of the week. It could be, because you've seen it here, for example. That's a pretty big wick. It's not a massive wick, but you see these weekly wicks tend to be very large when we get these very specific, bottoms. And this is looking like maybe it's not this one that's going to be the big wick. Maybe it's next week. Who knows? Like, we don't know this yet, but this is definitely looking like a potential giga wick. So I mean, it's hard to say, but so one of the reasons why I put we have this new strategy that we have one more thing to tweak on this, if I remember correctly, but this is essentially just a whole bunch of indicators put together, and with the values that we personally use when we want to buy or sell something, right? And I'm not going to explain it in detail now, but as you can see, that generally speaking, it's hitting very good tops and bottoms, right? So if you bought all this and then you sell all that, that's not a bad trade, right? That's the whole point with this. You're supposed to trade it, with a couple of months in between or a couple of weeks in between, whatever. And we've been given, so these red ones right here are like heavy sells or a heavy signal. So it plays a bigger role in like the weight of that indication. Same with the green ones are the big buys, right? So seeing what's happened here, we have two smaller cells here, and then we got a big cell here, and then two more big, and it's still creating more red on the way up, which is, for me at least, indicating, okay, this is overextended over and over again. Doesn't mean that it won't keep going. That's the issue when you're building a strategy like this, for example, or with using your own strategy. When you think a top is in and you sell and it keeps going, it's not like you've made a bad trade, because if you're in profit, right? If you bought all this and sold all that, or bought all this and sold these red and it keeps going, it's like you've still made, let's go from here or something and just take it. That's 140%. Like, I don't think a lot of people realize how good of a trade that is.
If this is it. If there are people who do not care about the fundamentals of this market, they didn't watch any of the Solana conference. They just knew, Sol conference. Sol is good coin. Okay, I'm gonna buy it. Okay, conference on. Oh, great, it's going up. Cool. Right. Well, let's see where this takes us. Yeah, I'll take a little bit off, but let's. Yeah, okay. I've still got 50% of it left. Oh, great. I've nearly tripled my money. Okay, well, let's wait for a reversal. Okay, this looks like it's turning around. Boom, off we go. Out. See you later. I don't care that you're going to $300, because in their mind, if you can trade, then this is I follow the same sort of prescription with a lot of my trading, where I have some real crap in my trading portfolio that I
yeah,
trade,
you do.
that I trade algorithmically, and that's on the basis that I'm looking at the likes of, I'm looking at the likes of say, I'm just trying to think what's something that's in there. Glimmer. Glimmer is something which is an Ethereum clone on the Polkadot blockchain. Now, will it gain some users? Yeah, it's got a clear use case. It can be basically people can copy paste Ethereum dApps straight onto it. So yeah, I think it's looking all right. It dropped 99% this bear market.
That's nothing.
Yeah, so it's like, with that, it can make a 10x and still be 90% down. This is, you got to remember about percentages, is they get progressively harder.
Yeah.
A 99% drop needs a 10,000%.
It can still drop 99% more.
Yeah,
that's the weird thing about it.
And that's the idea, is that might be the point behind, let's say, a lot of strategies is this stuff that once it's 99% down, you can buy in, and a few $100,000 liquidity comes in, and the thing triples, quadruples, and you've made a year's worth of Bitcoin gains in a month.
Yeah, or even less than that.
Yeah, and so yeah, that's there is a philosophy to trading this market. You have to remember there's an awful lot of money who purely trades this market, and
Yep.
that means that no matter the sentiment, no matter how you feel about your altcoin, about Bitcoin, about your stock, when the market turns, when the technicals turn, when it doesn't look good, they will dump your favorite thing and they will send it crashing down, because they don't feel the same way that you do about it. And that's the difference between a trader and investor. An investor should not be necessarily thinking about selling this. However, they should definitely not be thinking about buying it.
Yeah.
Even if it goes higher, because this is one of those moments where, yes, it goes up to 78. Do I think that you'll have a chance to buy back at 56, 57 if it gets to 78? Well, yeah. So
yeah,
is it, for the sake of what is now a few percent more, you could buy the bottom of a big correction as opposed to the top of a massively overextended rally with just a little bit of trading discipline. And you won't always get better prices, but if you follow this discipline time after time, year after year, for decades, you'll end up with a far healthier looking portfolio.
Yeah. And I mean, look, so this is exactly what you're saying is exactly kind of, I guess, both of our philosophy in terms of when it comes to trades and investing in general. Because this indicator that we have right here, Rob and I built this. We had an idea. We put our smart brains together, or we put my semi-good brain into Rob's hands, and he put it into code. Basically, that's what these things are, and you guys will have access to these soon. Through Patreon. We've said that for a while, but
we keep saying soon.
We keep
saying soon and do.
Yeah, we're tweaking because we're not happy. We want to bring you something that actually is as good as we can make it. Okay, and that's why it's taking so much time. But genuinely, like, looking at this, this is genuinely our philosophy on paper, and this is what it looks like. You buy here, you sell here. You buy here, sell here. Buy here, sell here. Buy here and sell here. It's very simple, right? It's not impossible to do, although the emotional side of it, which is something like I'm not gonna lie, I've been spammed by more than a dozen people in regards to just Solana, like specifically, just because it's been rallying so hard for this entire week and the past week. And I've said to every single one of them, I've said the same thing. I think I even tweeted this, right? It's topping out right now. Like, we don't know if it's going to keep going, or just, like, what if you buy now and then you wake up tomorrow and it's back down to $42? Like, whoops, I bought the top. Just have some patience. Like, if you're really serious about investing in Solana, for example, wait for it to do that correction. And when it feels like it's getting close to where it's time to actually buy, like when you're close to a support level, when people are kind of bored of the market again, that's when you start thinking about it. And obviously this is not financial advice, but it's on the chart. It's there. It's right here. It's all right here. Look at it. Sells, buys. You will never ever see a green buy order somewhere around this type of area. You're seeing 3 consecutive hard sells, and they are even premature, right? So, and that's the best way I can put it. I'm sorry. Like, I wish I could explain it like a professor or something, but it's just so simple to me. I don't. Yeah. And it's the emotions.
It is. And if you want to just flip to my screen,
we
can see, which is another one. This is my brain on drugs.
What is it called again?
Its original name is the Itchy Mac Daddy,
and we call it the Mac Daddy.
Yeah. So this is just, say, the same chart, Sol ETH. I've just set the starting date for this strategy to be the start of the year. So you were thinking last year, you watched the bear market, you watched it go all the way down, you were wondering, when's a good time to buy? And you decided in January, at a very opportune moment, okay, great, I'm going to start investing in Solana. And you can see with this, my strategies, also this is my strategy that I've been building myself since 2018. And on the face of it, it's not very good because it tends to get stopped out quite a lot. It doesn't necessarily take profits at the top or bottom because it's not designed to do that. It's designed to be a trend follower. And you could look at this on multiple time frames, but what it always sort of intends to do is if it sells, it intends to buy back lower. And what it is incredibly good at doing is riding trends. So say if you'd have started this just arbitrarily on the 1st of January, then you'd have started off within the first month with 112% trade. And then you did nothing for several months. There were some small profits here, a few losses. Yeah, a couple more losses. There's a win. Yeah, okay. But then when the market did turn and it fell off $20 in June and had that retest of the lows, that was a 20% drop. And in that time, you ended up buying back 20% lower. And then you rode a 38% move. You then sold out, got stopped out a few more times, took a few more losses, bought, sold, on that reversal, and then bought back exactly the same price. And currently that would be sat in 146% of profit. And so this, on the face of it, doesn't look very good. It's only got a 29% profitable win ratio. However, the philosophy behind this, and I'd say this is my emotionless self, is small losses and big gains. Because there's an awful lot of times when it just isn't sensible to remain in the market. And if you can look and you can analyze and you can have the cojones to say, I made a mistake here, I should not have bought at this price, and it's time to sell. And this is designed to be, this is my brain. And yes, Mr. Goose, you did reprogram this for tuned, and it was a massive headache, and that's because it's a really good strategy. And
yes,
but in terms of that, it's 100. It says 115 there times 100 times 2.46. That's you're up. 300 and something % over the course of the year. Maybe not, in fact, I think I can turn on just to see if I turn quantity back on. So there you go. Your first purchase with $100,000, I think it was, or is this $1 million, would be 90,000 Solana, and you'd currently have 97,500 Solana on the way up. So you haven't gained any more Solana throughout the year, but you've had some volatility of it, but you haven't lost any Solana either. And the idea behind this is I always try that it will get you out when there is some sort of technical reversal, and it'll get you back in if that carries on going up. And they said, this is just, I don't have the discipline myself to do this. I recognize that I'm the weakest part of my trading strategy. And so I took myself out of it. And so I run this exact strategy on, I think, a collection of
50 coins or something like that. I've seen your list.
60
Crazy.
coins. Yeah. A lot of very solid projects in there. Yeah, I've
a lot
got
of
Shiba.
Kind of wonky ones too.
I got Shiba in there. Shiba will pump. I've got. It doesn't matter.
You're right.
It really doesn't matter when you know that the overall market will pump. And although yes, I'd place a bet on Solana outpacing the majority of those coins. If those coins make the same gain upwards, but then they fall 80% where Solana falls 50%, well then they can make a bigger gain upwards and a bigger gain up. They can make outsized gains versus the market leader.
Yep.
And so don't always think that you have to bet on the market leader. I wouldn't say, not saying sell Solana, buy Solana, anything, but a lot of people will just go, oh, I need to hold on to Solana because it's going to go to $10,000 because look, it's outpacing everything now. It won't always outpace everything.
No, you're right. I mean, the funny thing is, like, for those of you who don't know, like, Rob and I have been friends for 2 years now, something like that. We met through the crypto space, right? Actually, Jay, one of our guys here at Crypto Talks, he introduced us. And since then, we've just never stopped talking to each other for more than like a day at maximum. But so it's funny. No, it's funny because you have a completely different way of thinking about the crypto space and trading, because you're more of a trader because obviously you said your strategy does this and that, it trades a lot. My strategy, like my overall strategy, is more of a long-term kind of cyclical thing, right? So we kind of bring each other back to earth during, times of when it, because our viewpoints, we put them together, you get a really full investor trader person, I guess we could say. And so when we build these strategies, we have the strategies that Rob kind of mainly has built, and then we have ones that are built on my ideas and my way of thinking about things, and then we just help each other make them better and tweak them a lot. So I just show a difference here, because this first one we showed was something that we kind of did together with using both of our little bit long term but also still trading a lot, right? The one that Rob showed is his way of doing things, and I just like to show, because now that we're showing our stuff that we're gonna make available soon, I kind of want to show the one that we started with when we decided we should do these, and it's still not done because we're still tweaking it. So I'm just gonna show you this, and I don't know how well you can see this, but this one is called it doesn't have the right name right now, but it's the point of this one is to trade cyclically, which means that it's kind of it's layering into a bunch of buy orders during, the bear market bottoms. So it kind of layers in slowly and then heavier and heavier the deeper you go into the bear market to accumulate more. That is my strategy. That's what I do. And then I kind of don't want to sell the big exponential moves. I don't want to sell this on the way up. So we found a few ways how we can skip over that. And there should be a sell right here and a sell right here too, but I changed some metrics the other day and it kind of got weirded out, but generally speaking it's kind of correct. But so what it does, like I said, you see all these, it buys in here during the bear market bottoms. It should be a sell here, like a mid-cycle sell, to buy back and make some profits, then buy back cheaper. And then it comes up here and waits for the topping range before it sells these cells right here, and then it kind of trades that range, sort of. Then when it starts breaking through that range that we kind of calculated would be the top, it starts laying back into the bottom, which it is currently doing, and you see how it's hitting bottom, 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 and bottom, and it's not sold anything yet, because like I said, this is a cyclical trader, and this one has been, if you look at this, it's only done 26 closed trades, and all of them have been profitable. This doesn't mean that it's going to be like that all the time.
The way that it says what's profitable is it takes the first candle and then it'll apply the first sell, and it'll look at the difference between those two prices. Yeah. So in this case, the first sell is right near the top. So all of the sells have been below their corresponding buys. So that's how it works it out.
Precisely. Well, either way. It's been, the net profit is 1,168% compared to.
If you go to the list, if you go to the performance summary, it'll have an open PL as well. Let's see.
Yeah. So here we have
29%.
Buy and hold would be 300%. Using this one, it would be 1,168%. Open PL is 29.45.
So that's 16. So that's 1,535% up.
Yeah.
Total.
Yeah, and it's not done yet, unfortunately. Yeah, we know it's going to be better when we edit this, because we've figured out some stuff that we're going to apply to everything we have. So
is this still got the start date as the all-time high as well?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
So
So this is one way that I like to test my strategies. Is I'll start them from just before or around. Yes, either start them from the all-time high, as in on the basis that if you decided on the absolute worst day possible in 2017, I'm going to start investing in cryptocurrency. The idea being that rather than just throw all your money in blindly, if you just started and went, I'm going to go in with a strategy, and you worked with that strategy, then actually you would have had a much more peaceful, much calmer, much happier bear market.
Yeah. No headaches, really.
No headaches. Anyway, I'll say again, I would use the example of my dad. He started DCAing into Bitcoin in April 2021. Terrible time, and I was trying to get him to do it all the way through 2020, and it got to 2021, and he was like, "Yeah, okay, I'm going to start doing this." And so my advice was, do not go in big now. Absolutely don't. However, set up a monthly buy order and just buy, because if it keeps on going higher, and it may well have done. There was no saying it could have topped out 150k that year for all we knew. You can't know when you're in a bubble that you're in a bubble. You can't know when the bubble's going to pop because the bubble can keep on inflating. And he has been for 2.5 years, month after month after month, DCA in Bitcoin. And I know that this pump has now taken him for the first time, almost, except for November 2021. His cost basis has now dropped back into the positive. He's back in profit.
Yep.
And so this is what I promised him. I said, if you just keep on buying, however long it takes, eventually you will be in a profit which far surpasses putting money into a bloody ISA.
Yeah.
Or into a savings account. So
yeah,
like
no, yeah,
this
for sure.
It's not difficult to make money. There's only one thing easier than making money in crypto, and that's losing money in crypto.
Yeah, you're not wrong there at all.
It's incredibly easy to lose money, but it's so simple. And you say we aren't geniuses when it comes to this market. We aren't. 2018 gave me a sort of turbocharged crash course. The same thing that 2014 will have given crypto OGs. The same thing that Phil's getting now. You have to live through it to understand it. You can't just know.
I'll be honest. I'm super calm right now.
Mainly of course you are now, but you're a lot calmer than you were a year ago.
But I think one of the big things that help you through, the crypto volatility overall is that you're hanging around people that are more experienced. And if you want that, please join our Discord. Like, honestly, because we're sitting there on a daily basis talking. Other people are sitting there on a daily basis just talking and kind of calming each other, bringing each other back to earth, basically.
Just being like, great. Oh, look, I've just made a load of money. Oh, it's gone.
Yeah.
And it's gone.
Yeah.
Basically.
Stuff happens. Listen, we do need to start wrapping up because I have a person to go and get with my car. And I need to leave in about 8 minutes. So thanks for joining in, and thanks for all the chat messages and everything. And make sure you guys join the Discord. Please join the Discord. Get that subscribe button pushed down. Leave a like. The like helps a lot to spread the video and the algorithm and all that. And there's one more thing people should do. Oh, notification bell. Yes, I do have a boo-boo on my finger. Golden Goose. There was a knife, and it didn't like being on my hand. It wanted to be in my hand, and it went in right there. So stuff happens. So okay, but see you guys next time. We'll try to stream. Oh, we're gonna stream on Monday. I don't know if we're gonna stream more this weekend, but we'll see.
We'll see.
So
Not sure.
yes. All right. Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Bye.